Hello and welcome to the Dancing Deplorable Show. I'm doing something a little different tonight because of some things that I've heard on TikTok and on Twitter and some other stuff. And I've actually been researching Antarctica for approximately, 15, 20, 7 years now. So I've spent a lot of time looking at Antarctica, trying to research, even to the extent of trying to find library books to read up on Antarctica. And the only stuff that I could find was penguins and ice and the planes that fly by from Australia on their flyby view of Antarctica. And yeah, so I've spent a lot of time there through Google Earth Pro, and I'll probably take you on a little trip on Google Earth Pro today and show you Antarctica and let you know that it's getting ready to go into the summer here pretty soon. Like in the next month, it'll be summer there. So the ice will be melting and it will be showing things that I've done a few videos on before, but there's a lot of things that get you can see because the snow has melted or the ice has melted or whatever. Florida Marquis, I'll probably in the next day or two, I'll have some stuff of his because he does a lot of research in Antarctica as well. And I believe I know there's a lot of other people that do too. But the findings that I have found through my own personal research have been different than other people. So what you'll see on my channel is definitely some of the same stuff, but you'll also be encountering some other things, which, take it for what it is, and everybody is entitled to their opinion. But if you want to know about flat Earth versus being on a globe, I think the biggest thing, and I was, right there with everybody else because of, what you're told. 92, a friend of mine from the Axe Truth Show, her and I were discussing the Antarctica Treaty way back. Oh, it's been 2 or 3 years now. We were discussing that, and she was looking for the encyclopedia. I think it was either 1952 or 1957 because it was originally written like in 1952 or in the 40s or something like that. I don't know. There's just a lot, and I have to go back and find some information. But the actual date that they started it is different than when they started talking about it. So whatever happened, which I know what happened, but I'm not going to go there right now because that's not quite where we're at to discuss. Anyways, what I heard was, and I just, I'm my phone versus my computer. I have some stuff and I haven't synced it. So some stuff I don't have access to. But what I heard was that Putin basically canceled his part of the treaty. And being that they're all under an agreement to not have any police, to not not that they're not utilizing the resources, but trying to think of the word where they're like overusing it. I think it's something like that. But we all know what is it that I heard, and might be. It was like they were talking about when the guys had gone to Antarctica back in the 50s, the captain guy of the ship, and they had broken through the top layer to the underneath and discovered whatever they discovered. And then they said that what they told people is they spent the next 12 years building access from the top to the bottom. But that made me think about the mud floods and how they lied about building those grandeur buildings and saying that it was like, oh, we just built this for the fair, when it's actually, Tartarian stuff. They said that they did it in this X amount of time, when in actuality it was already there. They just took credit for it. So that's what anytime I hear that now, that's in the back of my mind, and I'm like, okay, I got that one. I know where we're going with that one. But what really made me realize what Antarctica is, and if you haven't watched my videos from that, it's been like a couple years ago, then you're might not be ready to hear what I'm getting ready to tell you. But I've done a lot of research through Google Earth, and it does have the complexity of truth to it, even though it is not portrayed the way that it should be. So if you have the globe and you took Antarctica at the bottom and you opened up the map of the globe, like if it was like all paper, okay, and you opened that up to a flat paper, opened that up from the bottom, and say the opening was at Antarctica, and then it opens all the way up, that Antarctica area would encircle all our world where we live in. And let me tell you how I got to that on my own, through my own observations, not from listening to other people and believing what other people said. And then after I learned that, then I took that information and then I went to scripture with it. And that's when I found, not that, well, there are places in books that have been taken out of the Bible that talk about that area. Okay, but let me tell you how I got there as it being what it is. And everything else that's the influence from the outside and the media telling us shit, and, whatever. But what I found was, and it has to do with giants as well, because that's what got me into this whole research thing anyways, for anything, was researching giants, because I was following Mud Fossil University, Roger Spur, because that was at the time my mother was dying. Trump was running, getting ready to run for president, whatever, 2015. And then, my whole world went to shit in 2016. And then, it's just been weird, ever since. And then the prophetic, what I was saying in my last video, my prophetic, not mine, it was just, deduction with my friend talking on the phone about all the people in charge were all pedophiles. I said that in 2015. And we talked about that a couple of years ago, and we both just went, oh my God, I can't believe that. But the Antarctica thing, where I got from point A to point B and knowing, okay, I'm not speculating anymore. I don't speculate because it's backed up with scripture now. Now I know that it is true, and what I'm seeing with my eyes, it's not a lie. But what I found through extensive research and observation through Google Earth Pro, I found that in the shadows in Antarctica, in the places that did not have snow and ice, and even in the places that do, you have your areas that just rock, and then you have the snow and the ice and everything. But what I found were cities, giant cities. I mean, huge, enormous cities. Now, I don't know, a lot of them may have been for giants. I haven't gone in and actually looked at like how tall the opening was, but there are things like that that we already know exist anyway, so we know giants exist. That's not even a I mean, it's like if people deny giants at this point, I really have to laugh because they're in the Guinness Book of World Records. Okay. So, take that to the bank. Anyways, so where I came to my conclusion that Antarctica surrounded us as like an ice wall, and from what I understand from scripture, it used to be a firewall. Okay. But this ice wall, what I found through my eyes, my observation, my research, was that the shadows were facing different directions in different parts that I was looking at. I'm like, well, that doesn't freaking make any sense. How does that freaking make any sense? So then what I did is I lined up the areas from where it would be if the sun was in the center and how the shadows would lie. And that's how, and I had seen that map that unfolds, but that's how that clicked in my brain that made sense because I'm like, okay, well, that opened like that. And then the shadows that I'm seeing are all facing away from the middle. It just and when you like I have like on the video that I have, and I probably should have put a link for it, but what I did was I put arrows on the map that showed the direction of the shadows, which the shadows were facing. And you can visually see by looking at that map that they were in every different direction. And and completely, it absolutely does not make sense at all. And then the center thing, that's like, and that's another thing that they're trying to trick people with, is they're trying to trick people with showing them planet Mars and the moon with as a globe too. And what they're doing is they're doing the same analogy and they're using the same map that they use for the Earth one. Because when I went and looked at, because I'm telling you, I spent hours and hours on this stuff. They match. You can look, they try to blur it and hide stuff. That's their big thing that they do on Google Earth is they blur it so you can't zoom in and see stuff. But I have a very keen eye artistically, and I know body parts because I had to spend hours and hours drawing people that shouldn't have been modeling naked. You have no idea. Ugly. I mean, people that just didn't care how they looked. I mean, it's like everybody else. I'm not attractive. I would never do that. I would not put anybody through that. No. But it's just like you get to know body parts, neck, arm, hands, head, tilt, hip, feet, or pincers, or flippers. You name it, it's there. And I found a lot of it. But it's like, once, like I said, the snow melts, then you can see a lot of stuff. And if you have that eye artistically, and you've done as much drawing as I've done, and I absolutely abhor drawing. I'm good at it, but I don't like it. I like sculpture, making stuff. And I have issues with that because it's graven images. And any artist that is making anything that has graven images, you need to run away from fast and get rid of stuff in your home that has that. It's bad, very bad. Anyways, okay, so getting back to Antarctica. So Putin has broken the treaty in Antarctica, supposedly. Now, I researched it. Let me pull it up. I'll show you the things that... What the heck is that? Hi, Victoria. I mean, it's like once you realize that just one lie and the wording, I think is what gets me the most, Victoria, is once they put it in a certain way that they say it. It's like, then it pops out and everything else, and you're like, what? Seriously? Okay, that's like, yeah. So, I'm looking at my screen here, and they've changed things. So bear with me. Present screen. I don't even know what my present screen is. You're asking. Okay, let me see. Let me see what I need to show you first. Let's get rid of Jupiter and Oblivion. Okay. Where did... Well, we watched mine. Let me see. Brand. Let me see. Let me get rid of that guy. Okay, so I hope I don't get dinged for these. But and they're like, okay, let's go ahead and try this.
Antarctica today is a hotbed of scientific activity. Scientists are shooting weather balloons into space, hunting for galactic particles, and flying across the continent to chart our changing climate. But over 60 years ago, Antarctica was a blanket of unknowns, a territory that was a siren song for adventure junkies and pioneering scientists. And in the midst of the Cold War, international peace was forged on the ice.
It was very, very reconnaissance. There hadn't really been serious scientific research done across the continent. But countries came together. We were actually able to unfreeze the international relations between East and West.
This is David Drury, a renowned glaciologist and former director of the Scott Polar Research Institute. He's even got a mountain named after him. As a young scientist, David participated in hundreds of groundbreaking flights across Antarctica.
We wanted to understand what the climate was like, as opposed to understanding how the climate had changed.
While conducting research, David filmed his experience, and we asked him to digitize a roll of cinefilm, which hasn't seen the light of day until now.
The rocks and the mountains, it is just one of those magical parts of the world.
At one point, Antarctica was primed for conquest, but the international science community stepped in to make the continent politically neutral. From 1957 to 1958, scientists worked side by side in the Arctic.
We thought some of the scientists were rubbish. Oh, look at that. All they're doing is studying these little sort of tiny mosses. I mean, who can possibly get interested in that? And they joked about, why are they studying these rocks? Or, what are they doing flying around these aeroplanes? A lot of, good-hearted scientific joshing.
Thanks to friendly competition and collaboration, techniques like radioglaciology, which uses radar to map the ice, became vetted scientific methods.
This film was the foundation of our field. I mean, at a baseline level, they were showing that you can look through 4 kilometers of ice with a radar pulse and see what the bottom of the continent looks like.
But the real breakthrough was in the recording system, invented by a physicist named Stan Evans, who flew with David.
So what Stan did was to get a camera with a piece of 35mm film that would slowly pass over the oscilloscope. The film integrated the signal, and with the film continuously moving across it, you built up a profile. We do our activity, and then at the end of the flight, we come back to McMurdo, could just sort of socialise, get a drink. We would go to the mess hall, steaks, lobster, fresh salads would be flown in from New Zealand. And we went to the Russian station at Vostok. It's the coldest place on earth. The best thing was a glass of vodka, Nostrovia, and, your pals forever.
Okay, I'm going to stop that right there. That was boring. I watched a little bit of it, but in the part where they broke up the map, if you take that map, the way they broke it up, and you think about that globe map, how they do that, and then you pull that map out, you will see that the areas that occupy that flag are right next to the continent that area occupies. Like, it would be like a pie. Like, if you, like America, like the pie, and then it went out like westward, like that, and it went straight out, that would be where the map comes up and unfolds. That pie piece that goes out to that direction, that area of influence of that pie piece that expands, would be America's territory for Antarctica, which is the ice wall. And if you think about the ice wall, and I'm not even going flat earth, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that they're lying to us about Antarctica, about everything. In Antarctica, they're lying about everything. That's what I'm trying to talk about right now before I get into what we're going to really talk about, and that's Putin breaking the treaty. We're going to look at the treaty, and then we're going to look at a couple of quick clips, and then we're going to, talk a little bit more, because it's a very pivotal topic that I know through the research that I've done, I have come to the conclusion. And after watching, and I'm not sure which of these videos I have, but one of them has the theory that I have, is that they have underground domes there too. And then they talk about that they built that. Remember that I was talking about that 12 years that they said, oh, it took us 12 years to build the elevator from the job down into Antarctica and stuff like that. So I just want you to know that they're lying. If they're lying about that stuff, and they're lying about this stuff, and over there they're lying about this stuff, then by golly, they're lying about this. And the reason I've been questioning this whole thing is, why is everybody in on the treaty? First of all, why is there no police there? Second of all, why are they lying about the people that actually lived there? See, the wording matters, and I'll show you what I mean. They talk about there is only 2,000 people that are on the surface of Antarctica of a given year, blah, blah, blah. Then, during the summer, the warmer parts, then we have the fluctuation of the extreme, bringing in supplies, and there's just more activity and more people there, and blah, blah, blah. But, so that to me, and then get this. Then to add to all this other stuff, and Mariah, you're going to crack up at this one because you're going to know. Through all this crap that we've been dealing with and learning about, and all about Epstein and Ghislaine, okay? Ghislaine flew a plane to Antarctica, and they received her in the middle of winter. That's supposed to be a big no-no and doesn't supposedly happen. But what that says, and what people talked about all over the internet, people like me that were already, looking at Antarctica, what the hell were you doing flying there? Because that must be the safe zone where nobody can touch anybody. If anybody that's guilty of anything, they would just go there and escape authority, because there's no authority. That's why I'm looking at it through Putin's eyes, in a way, wondering if he's trying to break this for the disclosure of, ending that treaty so that it opens it up so that disclosure is given about what's really going on with Antarctica. Because it's a big issue. Huge. From what I found there, huge. Now, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even lightly kidding. There are so many ancient castles. I found I don't know what it is. It could be a metal ship, but it's like, I don't believe in aliens. They don't exist. We live in a dome. And after putting everything together with the inductive reasoning and backing it up with scripture, we live in a freaking dome, people. The rainbow, hello. And then if you have a double rainbow, oh my God, are you kidding me? If you have a double rainbow, if you look at the rainbow, look with your eyes at the rainbow. If you have first rainbow, second rainbow is inverted. It's inverted. Okay, so it's reflecting the opposite colors. I mean, in the opposite direction. Like you're going to see, like, on the regular rainbow, it's like blah, 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 blah. And then on the reflection rainbow, the double rainbow, it's blah, 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 blah. Watch stuff, people, seriously, because they're lying about everything. And then the Disney logo, breaching the dome with a missile, whatever. So many stupid things that they're just like right in our face with everything. Getting back to Antarctica, okay. It is very important. If the whole world has a treaty with each other, and I mean, we all have treaties, I get that. But an area of influence that big, if you think about it if you didn't think of it as a continent and thought of it, and speculate, okay? Speculate, have some fun with it. and imagine that it is, and that area of influence. So we would have that pie piece, and then the other person next to us would have their pie piece. Because think about it, the center of our world, if it was that way, everybody would have a pie piece. If you fell within this area of influence for your pie piece, those people would have access to that portion of the Antarctica Treaty. Okay, so if the elite needed a place to escape to from us, guess where they're going to go? Okay, and it's a wonder to me why now, because I think the stage is being set, and I've had discussions about that, and I believe the stage is being set, but they want, and remember, they always want us to see what they want us to see and not what we actually are seeing. So if you remember that they talk with their lips, they lie with their lips, but their actions and their fruit tell the truth of it all. And if you start thinking of things that way and looking at people's fruit, anybody, you will see the fruit. It will become very, very clear. There will be no mistaking the truth versus a lie. Because it's like Victoria said, it just clicks. I mean, once you realize, here, I'll put it up here on the screen. Once you realize something and you put those puzzle pieces together for yourself through your inductive reasoning, I talk about that a lot because everybody's doing it, but nobody's talking about it. And they're calling us conspiracy theorists. No, we're critical thinkers. Actually, I have a video for that. I just posted one on my YouTube. And thanks for joining, everyone. And if you come back and watch it, thank you for coming back and coming in and checking it out. This is a hot topic. I'm really, really excited about this one because it's just one of those things that I've been researching. So let's go ahead and jump in here and let's go look at this other. I don't know where it's getting. Maybe that will change. I don't know why it's saying something different. But then let's see. What is that? Present screen? I don't want the present screen. Let's see what it brings up. Here we go. Okay. Now it's actually asking me for a share screen. Thank you, Lord. That was a little frustrating on that one. So let's just take a roundabout round. Well, let's look at this first. Is this the one? I really like this guy, and I don't know why I'm not seeing him on TikTok anymore. I wonder if he got, because I think this is TikTok, so he must still be on there. I'll just have to look and see. But he's really good, so let's go here first and check him out. Here we go.
Putin could spark territorial free-for-all in Antarctica by threatening to rip up the treaty? The Antarctic Treaty? Wait, the treaty that stops everybody from independently exploring Antarctica? That's right. Word on the street is that this guy's looking to hit the Antarctic ice wall in one way, shape, or form. What are these guys wearing? What in the world does that look like? The Freemason compass and square? Probably nothing, right? But you may be asking, well, who cares? Who cares about the Antarctic Treaty? Like, who cares? Who wants to go south? There's nothing out there. What if I told you that Antarctica's not a continent? It's actually an ice wall that encompasses us. If you didn't know, people have already demonstrated this. Captain Cook and also James Clark Ross circumnavigated the Antarctic wall 60,000 miles. It took them 3 to 4 years. Yes, Antarctica being an ice wall doesn't make any sense on the heliocentric model, so obviously got to throw that in the trash and realize the Earth might be level with hills and valleys, and water suggests that. It's, 70% of the surface of the Earth is water, and you think it's just curving 8 inches per mile squared around an oblate spheroid? But there could be something really crazy going on in Antarctica. Buzz Aldrin seemed to think so as well. We are all in danger. It's evil itself. And does that look like a pyramid? For everyone wanting to read the Antarctic Treaty for the first time because they've never looked into it, here's the first page, second page, and my favorite, the third page. The provisions of the present treaty shall apply to the areas south of the 60th south latitude. This black line right there. Unless you get special permission from the government, you better not try to go past that. You'll die. But if you're still not convinced that Antarctica is an ice wall, look into Operation High Jump. And also, think about it. The North Pole is in water and the South Pole is in ice. But during the December solstice, the South Pole should be getting about the same amount of light as the North Pole during the June solstice. So, should even out. They should be, pretty similar, have the same amount of life. But at the North Pole, there's tons of moose and stuff running around. And in Antarctica, there's nothing. I'm going to use this picture as a visual representation. I don't think this is 100% accurate on how it looks, but this could be what's going on past the Antarctic Circle right here. Yeah. I guess we'll just have to wait around and see what happens. But if you guys are bored while we're waiting around, I do have a podcast. You can check it out in my link tree in my bio, top button. We've talked about the heliocentric model and dismantled it for 2 hours. Check it out.
I will most definitely check that out. I didn't watch it all the way to the end almost, but I'm definitely going to. I really like that guy. He really brings the truth out there. And I like that. Let me go ahead and remove that. Stop screen. Okay, I'll remove that. It's just very interesting, right? Now, the map that he showed with the outer rings, that I haven't been able to prove scripturally, so I'm still working on that one. But if you also think about this, and this really, really made me perk up, was if you once you opened that up at that paper map and you realized that the center would be the North Star and that it never moves and that the stars, cycle around that and everything makes sense on how, it changes and stuff like that. But where's I going to go with that? Hold on. Okay, so once you open that up and it's, the flat, looking at it flat and looking down at it, and if you had that center, and scripturally it talks about, the cycles of the moon and the cycles of the sun, and then you would look at that on a map, and you would see that it directs and circumferences from that center and moves around that center and creates the light in that area. So when it's moving around and you're looking at it, it looks like a clock. It looks like a clock with the hands. And if it's made for seasons and things like that, and we're set up on a time frame of 60 minutes in an hour, 60 seconds in a minute. It's all on a clock. And I just found that completely mind-blowing that, God looks down, and in this dome that we are in, it's like clockwork, and it's wound up. And I think we're on like supersonic speed, like Greg Harvey Greenberg was talking about today, I think. How it's just like, time is just like flying right now. It's just like flying big time. Okay, so I have another TikToker to show you real quick, and then we'll bump into another welcome. Let me check out the comments here real quick. Victoria says, let's pop this up here. Yeah, I've had to do the new eye thing several times a year. It seems like, just because I find out new information, to add to it. And it's like, my theories on mirrors. There are things coming to light that need to be talked about. All the apothecary and all the deception. It's just the whole deception, all the deception. Okay, so back to Antarctica. Let me show this other TikTok real quick. And I believe I want to remove that.
According to Russia, there's much more to Antarctica than the public is being told. They claim that top governments worldwide know exactly what's going on there, but they haven't disclosed it until now. Possibly an entire continent below Antarctica's ice. Could this be Atlantis? Some theorists even believe that an ancient civilization that once fell actually lives and inhabits the continent below the ice. This is what essentially attracted the larger world governments to Antarctica, to see if they couldn't find this alleged continent. But why would this important discovery be kept top secret from the public? Well, many believe it's because of a discovery that Russia supposedly made back in the early 2000s. In the early 2000s, a Russian scientific expedition made an amazing discovery. After drilling 2,000 meters into the ice shelf, they'd break into a cavern and discover freshwater lakes. And much to their surprise, these lakes were not frozen. It was essentially fresh water that had been isolated down there for what they believed to be 10 million years. So after making the discovery of the freshwater lakes, the scientists decided that they wanted to set up an expedition to drill down to the largest of the lakes, Lake Vostok. It's said that this borehole took over 10 years to dig, and now it's fitted with an elevator that you can take all the way down. This elevator would take 8 scientists down to the lakes to verify their existence. But little did these scientists know, they were about to embark on an expedition that could cost them their lives. Shortly after they began exploring the lake, they would have a run-in with an organism known as Organism 46B. Organism 46B was very similar to that of an octopus, except it was much more lethal. It said it had a venom that could paralyze its prey for up to 150 feet. Then it would rip them apart at its leisure. And 46B did just this to one of their colleagues while they were diving in the lake. They said that though it is just like an octopus, it is actually much larger and has 14 legs. It's believed that 46B has some traits of the mimic octopus from the Indo-Pacific, except 46B could actually take its shapeshifting to another level. One crew member found this out the hard way. He witnessed as what he believed another diver was approaching him while in the water. As a result, he really didn't pay much attention to it until it was too late. Organism 46B had actually shapeshifted itself to mimic the look of a fellow diver. He would paralyze the crew member and tear him apart. After this second death of one of their colleagues, they knew that they had to capture the creature in order to study it. Naturally, Russia wanted to study it so they could possibly use it for warfare in the future. So they'd use the female crew member who was said to have extra fantastical traits. She was highly skilled at camouflaging herself and avoiding being killed. To me, this almost sounds like a Black Widow type woman from Avengers. So they'd place a massive net in the water and use her as bait. Sure enough, the creature would show up for its feast. As it approached, she'd quickly evade the beast, and they'd capture it in a massive net. They would then get the beast on the elevator, and they'd send it to the top, where scientists would put it in a tank. They'd then study it for years on end, and it's alleged that they still even have 46B contained. This is allegedly how they've come up with all the information they have on it. Russia also wanted to study the venom it used to paralyze its prey from over 150 feet. This is just one of the possible stories that have leaked from Antarctica. It makes you wonder what else could be down there. But I gotta know, do y'all believe in this story? Do you believe in 46B? Let me know in the comments. As always, my content is for entertainment purposes only. I'm not portraying it as absolute fact. I tell the stories and let you guys decide. I know I've told this story before, but this is kind of a different angle on it. I thought it was interesting. And it was a quick story I could do, as I've been super busy trying to get my apartment around. And don't worry, y'all. Navigator across the ice wall.
That was quite enough. Yep, people just want to say conspiracy. But if they took just a little bit of time, they would find out things for themselves, and then their whole world would come crashing in. And, I think that's what we're here for. That's exactly right, Victoria. I really believe that. I think that they've heard enough that they don't want to know. It's a lot. It's really, really a lot. And it's like, and the way that I look at it is we've had, a lot of us, we've had many years and some even 20 years that have known about a lot of this stuff already, but we've had time to acclimate ourselves with one thing to the next thing. What's happening now is a lot of these people are getting all this shit dumped on them all at the same time, and they're trying to, oh my God, where's God? And then they're rushing into the churches, and what they're finding is Satan. And that is so sad, because there shouldn't be any brick and mortar churches at all. None. There should be none. And there should be no money from profit ministries. None. Nobody asking for money. None. God will give, and people don't need to ask. God will provide for that. But it's just interesting to see how they're with Putin doing this breaking the treaty thing. I'm excited about, other people are, oh my God, we're going to war. No, we're not going to war. Don't think, because you remember what I said earlier is like, they want you to believe what they want you to believe. And if they're telling you we're getting ready to go to war, we know it's a bunch of bullshit. Because everything that everybody has said in the past, oh, watch out for this date. Oh, watch out for this. This is going to happen. Oh, this is going to happen. Oh, better watch out for this. Da 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 da. And one escalation to the next, and freaking yo-yo syndrome. It's like, I stopped being a yo-yo two and a half years ago. When no, it's been a year and a half, almost 2 years, that I realized all the right side bullshit and people tapping believers for every penny that they have. Because it's like, once we started following all the money and we started taking away their money, they kept trying to find new ways to get money. But what people on the right forgot to do was follow the money on the right. And that's an atrocity, because they're getting dealt a bunch of bullshit by a bunch of New Age, Pleiadian, following, alien believing, whatever it is. And it's just sad, because looking at the stuff that I found through just Google Earth and researching and using my mind that college taught me how to use, actually, college taught me how to be a victim, just like the LGBTQ community did. Had to figure that shit out and get out of there. But let's look at another video, and then we'll talk some more, and I'll show you. Actually, I want to pull up. Let's go ahead and pull up the Antarctica Treaty. And it's really interesting, because I would say that they have changed the name of it within the past year. Because when I researched before on this topic, it never said system. It never said system on it. Okay, so making sure that you can see what I see. Let's go big. Antarctica Treaty System. The Antarctica Treaty and related agreements, collectively known as the Antarctica Treaty System, ATS, regulate international relations with respect to Antarctica, Earth's only continent without a native human population. Above ground, in quotation. It was the first arms control agreement established during the Cold War, setting aside the continent as a scientific preserve. Preserve. That's interesting that they use that word, because that's exactly what it has done, is preserved titans and giants. And there's some crazy shit out there, people, let me tell you, with like pincers and arms and dragon heads with human skull. I'll show you. Anyways, getting back to it was the first arms control. Okay. Arms control, that means is a term for international restrictions upon the development, production, stockpiling, proliferation, and usage of small arms, conventional weapons, and weapons of mass destruction. Arms control is typically exercised through the use of diplomacy, which seeks to impose such limitations upon. So it was the first arms control agreement established during the Cold War, setting aside the continent as a scientific preserve, establishing freedom of scientific investigation. And what's there to investigate that they tell us to investigate? Ice and penguins. Bullshit. And banning military activity. Okay, so if Putin broke the treaty, then he's taking military there. Why? Okay, for the purposes of this treaty system, Antarctica is defined as all the land and ice shelves south of the 60 degrees south latitude. Since September 2004, which I find this a very interesting date. Oh my God. I have issues with dates around this time. like from 1997 to 2003. And this is too close to 2003 not to be an issue, to add to my other issues. Okay, since September 2004, are we still rolling? Oh, comments. You guys are commenting, but as I'm reading, it might take me a minute to get back to you, okay? Yes, cinnamon rolls. Well, we have 2 dogs, actually, and 4 cats. Yeah, Victoria. I felt that way for a long time now, but now it's like just listening to idle chit chat on the bus is extremely. It's really hard, and it's like I keep telling people I know too much. Yeah, I don't get that either. Well, because the government hides that stuff. I mean, there was even like something that I was researching, iron, and I don't even know how I came across this, but there was this thing in, I think it was in Poland, and they said that it was a meteor. They said it was a meteorite. It was so funny because I was laughing so funny. I had done so much research and I had found so many pieces of fossils myself of the same type of shape that I knew exactly what it was. It was not a meteorite. It was not a meteorite. But anyways, so I'm looking at this and they're stating that it's a meteorite, and what it is it's a giant fingertip. And I'm sitting there going, you guys have a giant's fingertip and you don't even know it. And you're saying, oh, this is an asteroid. We got an asteroid here. Yeah, and that's another question I have. If we're in a dome and we're getting asteroids out of the sky, where are they coming from? Which is that I'm wondering about. That's what leads me into the outer ring of our ring. Makes me question that. So I'm questioning that, but I'm still looking for that in the Bible, and I just wonder about the other books that have been taken out. So getting back to the treaty, since September 2004, always be aware of those dates is what I was trying to say, of 1997 to 2003, 2004. And if somebody starts talking about that date and something going on in that date or something came up in that date, pay close attention to it because it's very important for what's going on right now. Anyways, the Antarctica Treaty, what the heck is that? Is an organ. Okay, the Secretariat of the Antarctic Treaty, ATS, is an organization created 2003. See, there we are, right in there, 2003, by the Antarctic Treaty. I wonder if that's where they actually found Gilgamesh. And I wonder if Gilgamesh is actually, who is Optimus Prime? No, that was the bad guy that they found encrusted in the ice, right? The bad guy. But I find that interesting because that everything, the movies and the books, tie to things that are going on. So be aware and know that I've watched almost every science sci-fi movie, and I've read a lot of sci-fi fantasy books, like Piers Anthony, for instance. That one, I cannot believe how much I'm getting my mind blown by that one right now. Just in his geographical composition in his books. Just if you went to the library and you opened up the pages and you looked at what he names, like he spends a lot of time in Florida. That's a big place in his books. But it's called, whatever it's called, I forget. But he has all the names for all the other things. And trust me when I tell you that it's all freaking love springs and this creature hooking up with this creature to create this creature. Well, that's kind of weird. And I just find that kind of interesting too. But somebody that's in charge, Secretariat of the Antarctica Treaty, um, they have consultative meetings for the management of the tasks to support the annual meeting of signatory countries. So what do they need to meet annually for if they're not? See, this is another thing. This is bullshit. This is a bunch of bullshit they're trying to feed us, which is implements the treaty system. The headquarters is headquartered in Buenos Aires, Argentina. Now that is interesting too, because in Argentina and Brazil are two areas that are big influences of big influences of dragons and just there's a lot of things going on in all over. There's just all kinds of and another thing I'm going to bring up, since we went over all this Neo-Nephilim stuff last week, and the book that I brought up was the Giants, Dragons, and Monsters. Oh my. It has all the folklore for each area of influence, for each continent, for each whatever, and it talks specifically about the giants or the creatures in those specific areas, in every area, mind you. Okay, so as we move down the road with all this stuff, you're going to see how much information and research I actually have into the giants and into Antarctica and into it all comes down to the influences, because and even Roger Spur talks about the dragon slaying over Morocco, that you can see that the neck of the dragon was cut by a sword, obviously, or whatever, energy, whatever. Okay, so getting back, so on this treaty, the main treaty was opened for signature on December 1st, 1959. And yeah, they made up a lot of stuff through using Antarctica and the glacier moving and bullshit like that to vamp up the climate stuff. And I kept not really going to talk about it because that's a stupid thing right now. The original signatories were the 12 countries active in Antarctica during the International Geophysical Year. Okay, so this is interesting as well. So this would mean that these are the 12 countries ruling the earth at that time. That's what that tells me. That actually had a voice, so to speak. And I just wonder if this is what ended the Cold War, actually, is them finding all this crap out in Antarctica and everybody coming to an agreement to, okay, let's end this so we can focus on that. Okay, so Argentina, Australia, Belgium, Chile, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, South Africa, the Soviet Union, United Kingdom, and the United States. So those areas of influence, which yeah, that's really interesting. Antarctica research stations, which I've looked at, and looking at that map that pops up there, and it's easy things to research, and also be aware that you guys are going to like this one, that they named the COVID variants after islands that surround Antarctica. So when you go and you research it after you leave here, at whatever point in time, you'll find those things, those variants listed on the islands that surround Antarctica. And, there's things on those places too, and I haven't even spent much time there. I'm losing my voice, and I need to take a drink, so give me one moment. to do that. Oh, so good. Oh, all right. Let's see, where are we at? Okay. We okay? Yeah, we're okay. Okay, so if all those people were invited, these countries had established over 55 research stations. Okay, 55 research stations. So if we're looking at the pie, according to my theory, if we're looking at that pie, so they have X amount of research stations, and subsequent promulgation of the treaty was seen as a diplomatic expression of the operational and scientific cooperation that had been achieved as of 2022. So this is very current. The treaty has 55 parties. Now notice it says parties and not countries. So why that I find very interesting, because since 1959 to 2022, words matter here, folks. And I've been saying that in almost every single video I've been doing this past week. Words matter. If they had 12 countries original signatories, then, but as of now, the treaty has 55 parties. That's very interesting. And you can go through and look at, see, and it even starts here in 1940. See, I told you guys it was in the 40s when it started. Did I not tell you that? And I haven't read this before. Like I said, I've done a lot. I've watched a lot of videos, and I just haven't found anything that was subsequent to talk about until this. Because now it really brings into consideration what they're hiding there. Because if the way that I see Putin, I'm not going to go there because I don't want that to be a reason that I get booted. But let's just put it this way. I don't believe anything the mainstream media tells us. Absolutely nothing. So you can take that for what you want. But I'm glad that I watched Survivor, because I can mute them, but I'm obligated to watch commercials. But I'm glad that I'm doing that now, because I'm finding out the bullshit that they're trying to feed our brothers and sisters. So I'm trying to keep in the know, even though I walked away from TV. I'm trying to keep in the know and know what they're still trying to feed them. All the COVID crap and all the, crooked politicians and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting. Says here, the 40s. This is interesting. I'll let you guys go and do that. I'm not going to go spend all that reading that whole thing. That's something people can do on their own time. It's just be aware that if somebody that's in one of those parties has broken their agreement, then everybody else is either one. I don't think, okay, that's why I think that they're all saying, war, it's going to be war. Oh my God, it's going to be war. No, it's not going to be war. What it's going to do is it's going to force everybody else's hand to join them and disclose. So, and that's what we want. We want somebody to do it, because everybody else is in agreement to hide the truth from us. And if anybody's pushing the card for the truth, in whatever way they're pushing it, that's his area of influence. He has every right to defend his area of influence. More power to him. And if he wants to break the treaty, he has every right to break the treaty and say, hey, you know what? I'm not in with you guys anymore. I'm not playing your game. So I think it's very, very, very important what he's doing in Antarctica. That's why I'm doing the show right now tonight. Because I was just going to talk about, just stuff that I've been talking about, and move forward with that stuff. But so let's look at another thing that I found very interesting. And I believe this happened a while ago. I don't think it's new. Could be, but we'll look at that when we go into it. So let me pull this next thing up. And with the current situation politically here and who's supposedly in charge, I think you guys might find this interesting. So it says here, okay, it's current. Okay, this is current. Oil prices. Let's see. Where was it that I saw that? Here it is. Russia makes move on Antarctica's 513 billion barrels of oil. So, let me tell you what they get oil from. Dead bodies. Just like in the La Brea tar pits. A big mass of that underground decomposing stuff are dead bodies. Decomposed bodies. Anyways, it says here, and I think this is super, super important, you guys. I mean, it's like, if he gets cut off from other countries of oil, and he has access to that oil, and if there's that much oil in Antarctica, why are we having wars over oil? This is what I mean by the disclosed part, because if they're hoarding, which I completely believe that they are, because they take everything from us for them. Everything that we work our hard-earned money and we pay taxes on does not go to things that help us. And if you think it does not. We get the end of the stick, the end of the barrel, the bottom of the barrel, the bottom of the bucket, the bottom of everything. We get the scum at the bottom of the bucket. That's what we get. They get everything else. Okay? So, think about this, folks. What they're saying is there's 513 billion barrels of oil in Antarctica. Right now. So, what the are we doing having wars over oil? I mean, seriously. I when I saw that, when I came across that tonight, and it wasn't even, I was already had all my other stuff ready to go, and I found that, and I'm like, that's why he's breaking the treaty. Because he wants access to his portion of what he's entitled to. And I bet you they were trying to not do that, or nobody was getting it because they were hoarding it. But now he's like, okay, I'm done with the treaty. I want my shit. And I'm going to come and get my shit because this is my area of influence. And if you try and come into my area, guess what I'm going to do? Pow, pow, pew, pew, pow, pow, pew, pew. That's what's going to happen. So I don't blame him. He's got to do what he's got to do for his own country. And it's like, I'm up in the air with that too, because I still keep getting flashbacks of the soccer ball. And I'll leave you guys with that, because I don't have anything else to say other than that. All I keep bringing up from the file cabinet, brings to the forward and keeps bouncing out of there is that dang soccer ball. Everything has to do with that soccer ball. And if you open it up like the globe, it's like a chessboard or checkers. Chessboard. Seriously? Seriously? Come on. Oh my gosh, you guys. And this is the kind of stuff that I've been dealing with, the vision stuff. It's just like boom, smack, pow, bang. Here you go. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. Okay, so it's about oil. So let's go down a little bit further. Given the march that it has stolen everyone else in the exploration and the development of oil and gas resources in the Arctic region, it should come as little surprise to anyone who knows anything of the ruthless single-mindedness of Moscow. That moves right there. Did I not just say chess? Did I not just say chess with the soccer ball? Moves are afoot to do exactly the same thing at the other end of the world, Antarctica. According to an announcement last week, Russia's state-run geological survey firm, Rosgeologia, is that like Roswell? They're so unoriginal. Undertook a major new seismic survey in the Riser-Larsen Sea off the coast of Antarctica's Queen Maud Land. Areas of influence that they cover in the pie, to my theory. You can see that the UK names everything about after the royalty. Okay, so getting back to this. Antarctica's Queen Maud Land earlier this year. Moreover, Rosgeologia stated unequivocally that it did this 4,400 kilometre survey, the first seismic survey done in the area by Russia since the late 1990s. Which late 1990s would be 1997. Okay, like I was telling you before, pay attention to those dates. Everything circles around those dates. With the express purpose of assessing the offshore oil and gas potential of the area using the latest technology. Amusingly, in a wry chuckle sort of way, for those who have had any serious dealings with Russia under President Vladimir Putin, there are those who cite all... Are we still live? Okay. Just checking. There are those who cite all sorts of reasons why such plans cannot go ahead, at least for the next few years. Presumably, these people were asleep when Russia rolled into Crimea or Georgia, or unilaterally managed to engineer a change in the status of the Caspian from a lake to sea in order to swindle Iran out of trillions? Okay. That's interesting. Of dollars of revenue. And probably believe that wolverines make good house pets as well. Nonetheless, these innocents cite the 1959 Antarctica Treaty. See, it says treaty here. See what I mean? By how they change it up. They changed it up in the wiki. And beware of wiki. Wiki is owned by the Clintons. I can tell you right now. If you look into their money laundering system, you can see how that is, and I'm surprised that it hasn't been brought to the forefront. Somebody else hasn't been talking about it or brought light to it, because it's obvious. It's right in there too, in their descriptions on how to donate. Signed by 53 separate countries, which, unlike the treaties governing the Arctic, which allow for hydrocarbons exploration and development, supposedly protect the Antarctic's mineral resources in general, minerals, which means if they're wanting minerals, they want gold, silver, blah, blah, uranium, all that stuff. That's the main, they're not looking for like talcum powder. Okay. including potential oil and gas sites, and I would think that that's the biggest. Now, getting back to oil and gas and the bodies that are there must have been, and I'm thinking there must have been some type of giant or enormous giant war that it pushed all of them out to that wall. I'm just not sure what happened, but the bodies are there and they're everywhere. And the cities are there, ancient cities. And I would say that there's castles there, and there's parapets, and there's pyramids, and there's just so much there. It takes a while to, yeah. So keep an eye on that, folks. Keep an eye on that because it's important for what's going on right now. Now I have this one last video, and I watched half of it, but we're gonna watch that together. Let me see if I want to make sure that I've got all the videos out I wanted to show you. And I believe so. Where are we at? 118. Okay, so this should take up the rest of the time, and that will be fine. And then we'll end with that. And I do thank everybody for joining me. This is really going to be a fun topic to stay on top of, and I'm still working on my background. I'll be doing that tomorrow. I just had to tie up some loose ends, and I had a migraine all day today. So, because I want to get that going, because I want to have some fun. I've got some other things lined up, and I want to start some silly stuff and have some fun with that too, off to the side, doing some TikToks and some other things. Anyways, let's watch this next video, and then we'll talk some more, and then I'll finish up. So let's see, present, share screen, Chrome tab. It's called the Antarctica theory. Here we go.
Throughout our world, few places are more remote and mysterious than the continent of Antarctica. Spanning over 5 million square miles, this mass of land and ice is over twice the size of Australia, yet it holds a grand total of 0 permanent residents. Its brutally frigid conditions and strict visitation laws have made it impossible to fully explore, leading many to question what secrets it may be hiding in its icy landscape. In the mid to late 1950s, the United States was heavily invested.
Now, mind you, let's do this one. Now, mind you, I don't agree with everything that all of these people talk about, but there are truths in them, in their videos. So I look for the truths in them. So just be aware that you'll know what you need to know. But know that I don't push anybody. I don't follow anybody. I do not promote anybody that pushes an alien agenda in any way, shape, or form. Dimensional beings, which are still demons, they're the only ones that have access in our dimension, in our area of influence. Can't get in, can't get out. There's only one way. You either make it up there or you make it down there, because that's what's below us. Sheol is hell, which is where Jonah went in the whale, basically died and was resurrected. Sea creature, sea monster, giant fish. Okay? So they exist. So we know this. And if Satan corrupted things on the earth, then he corrupted things in the ocean as well. Because anything that's evil and that has a wicked intent, it's not of God. If the fallen came down and slept with humans and created the hybrid giants. Then they slept. They do what they do because they were in charge. Each one had a specific job. Each angel has a specific job. So it's just very interesting to see how all of this is tied together. So let's go back to this. But just know that I don't necessarily agree with everything that I show you is, you take what you need to take from it, but know that I don't support everything that they say, but some things I do. And I'll probably stop and say, hey, I think that, this is important. Okay?
In nuclear technology, and specifically nuclear weapons. In the midst of the Cold War, it was imperative for the country to gain superior knowledge on the subject than the Russians. Because of this, the United States was constantly building and experimenting on all things nuclear. Over the course of the Cold War, over 1,000 nuclear devices were fired as part of U.S. government experiments, with few being as controversial as the experiments conducted in Operation Argus. The main goal of Argus was to test the effects that nuclear weapons had in colder, high-altitude regions. With these experiments, an estimated 3 nuclear missiles were fired in the vicinity of Antarctica. However, the results of this experiment were never finalized, and the whereabouts of the location in which the missiles hit is still very much a mystery. Following this test, the task force in charge of the program was quickly dissolved, and the majority of the documents associated with the project were destroyed. Included in these documents was also the film reel that would have shown actual footage of the tests. So this alone is pretty sketchy. The destruction of evidence, the hiding of evidence as to what happened there, is something that definitely raises some red flags, but it's also something that's not too surprising for that time period. But where this whole situation gets very strange is when you take a look at a previous mission that took place in Antarctica that has confused the public to this day. In 1946, the United States Navy sent troops to Antarctica to supposedly set up a military base and to train them for cold weather conditions as part of Operation High Jump. Now, this wasn't a small convoy or anything like that. All in all, 4,700 troops were sent up to the frigid landscape in December of that year. The operation lasted just barely a few months as the weather conditions supposedly got too severe. Which, I'm not sure what they were expecting there, if we're being honest. It's Antarctica. In total, it was reported that 4 men lost their lives in the short expedition. However, some believe that the number is actually much higher than that, and that in their time up there, the United States Navy was attacked. It is theorized that upon the trip through the harsh landscape of Antarctica, the brigade was attacked by unknown crafts, which forced them to retreat out of the area. The attack was highlighted in a now leaked Soviet report where KGB agents had gained knowledge from U.S. soldiers present at the site of the attack. The U.S. soldiers claimed that while they were being attacked by these hostile forces, they reportedly opened fire on the crafts, ultimately shooting one down into the water below. However, the advanced technology of these crafts proved way too much for the fleet to handle, and they were forced to retreat after losing several aircrafts and men in the attack. After the fleet returned back to the United States, one of the leaders of the expedition, Admiral Byrd, began discussing with the media that the United States should set up defense bases in the polar regions, and that flying crafts from the area posed a serious threat to the United States. After these shocking and controversial statements, Byrd was thrown into a mental institution and never heard from again. Piecing together the alleged attack on Operation High Jump with the subsequent bombing of the region with Operation Argus, the whole situation leaves a dark theory. Some believe that Operation High Jump was actually an invasion of Antarctica in order to fight off some mysterious force. Why else would they send that many soldiers there? Do you really need 5,000 men to set up a research base? And maybe when this operation failed, and when the United States Navy realized that they were no match for this advanced weaponry, perhaps they fired those nuclear weapons to take care of the enemy once and for all. Now, I feel like this theory is definitely out there, but the fact that it was in an actual Soviet report, and the fact that Byrd was speaking out about this enemy and was quickly silenced, makes it still intriguing to me. Plus, I can't get over why they would send that many people up there to set up a base, and I can't get over why they would fire those nuclear weapons in Antarctica for research when they didn't even end up posting any actual research from their findings. And what about the tapes? Okay, you know what? Let me chill. Let me chill real quick. So obviously I have a lot of questions about this theory that I wish I could have answered. And perhaps the biggest one to me is what actually was this unknown force that may or may not have attacked the Navy that day. And the theories into this are just flat out crazy. Many of the most popular conspiracy theories surrounding the region of Antarctica deal with alien life. Its vast and unexplored landscape makes it one of the only places on Earth that could really hold alien life that would go completely undetected. Like, aliens could just be chilling up there right now, and guess what? We'd have no idea. I mean, I'm not saying they are, but we really can't say that they aren't, right? Now, throughout the years, many have pointed to things like these pyramid structures throughout the region and claim that they are bases of aliens. They think that aliens actually created these things. And further structures have also been spotted on things like Google Earth that seem to look like man-made or alien-made buildings or layers. And due to our inability to explore these regions and confirm or deny whether these are structures or not, it causes our imagination to kind of run wild with what could have made them and what could be living in there. Now, me personally, I tend to view these structures as just kind of weird-shaped rocks, but I will give some credit that quite a few of them do look pretty convincing. Now, just recently, a photo from Google Earth went viral of what appears to be a spaceship crashed in the snow on an island just outside of Antarctica. With this photo, you see a definite trail behind a large tube-like object, making it appear that whatever this thing was, it had just crash landed. Now, this photo has quickly become synonymous with alien life in the region, though some experts are quick to dismiss it as a rock that simply slid down a mountain via avalanche. It's a really interesting photo that has many who believe that aliens are truly out there excited. And there's no shortage of other photos like this that supposedly show crashed UFOs in the snowy Arctic. Many believe that these crafts are the work of alien life forms, thriving in this desolate region. These people also tend to believe that these aliens were also responsible for the attack on the US Navy. It's a frightening concept, thinking that hostile alien life forms may be living in Antarctica, and the idea that they have attacked before may also mean that they may attack again. And with no defense bases anywhere in the region, nothing would be stopping them from attacking, let's say, a research team of ours in the area. But to me, the idea of aliens being responsible for these mysterious crafts is not even close to being the most interesting theory.
Für richtig hältst, ob du glaubst, dass ich fleißig gewesen bin, dass ich gearbeitet habe, dass ich mich in diesen Jahren für dich eingesetzt habe.
Bro, okay, this shit goes crazy. Let me just start by introducing the theory, and then I'm going to backtrack and explain how it could be possible. So stick with me here. So the theory here is that members of the Nazi Party were able to escape to Antarctica after World War II. It's said that the Nazis also took with them advanced weaponry from the war, weaponry like flying saucers that were responsible for the attack on Operation High Jump. Okay, so confusing and weird, I know, but let's unpack this for a minute. Even before the start of World War II, Hitler had a fascination with Antarctica. There, he sent multiple fleets to survey the landscape and supposedly look for margarine fat due to the fact that the country's supply would soon be cut off during the war. On these missions, it is theorized that Hitler saw an opportunity, as the vast continent provided the perfect conditions for a hideout should things go wrong. Now, fast forwarding a bit here to the actual war, it is no secret that Nazis were innovators, and they were obsessed with creating new and crazy technology. These technologies included things like wonder weapons and all sorts of other shocking and disturbing things. And it is believed that at one point, the Nazis set their sights on creating an advanced aircraft that would be ultra-powerful and especially difficult to bring down. These crafts would have been something completely new to our world if they were actually able to create them. And in this theory, believers claim that they actually did, They believe that the Nazis were able to build these flying saucers in secret and use their overpowered weaponry to defeat their enemies. And looking at all the other crazy stuff that they were able to invent, I mean, it's still improbable, but it's definitely not impossible that they were actually able to accomplish something like this. Okay, so if they had this advanced weaponry, how did they end up in Antarctica? Well, perhaps after World War II had ended, the remaining Nazis fled their homeland to avoid persecution and landed in Antarctica, where they likely would have never been found. And the idea of Nazi soldiers and officials escaping Germany after World War II is something that is definitely not outlandish. So many of them have been reported dead, and yet very few bodies were actually ever discovered from the high-ranking Nazi officials. Which that's a whole conspiracy theory of its own, whether these people are still alive or not. But if they are, maybe they fled to Antarctica. And maybe they took their advanced aircrafts with them to A, escape undetected, and to B, keep their technology a secret to possibly use at a later date. I mean, this kind of makes sense because, as I mentioned before, the Nazis had more information on Antarctica than probably any other country at the time. Because remember, they had sent crews there on multiple occasions. Also, in 2016, Russians actually discovered a legitimate abandoned Nazi base in Antarctica. So they had at least one legitimate settlement there, and it might not be too far-fetched to believe that maybe they had more that just haven't been discovered yet. So perhaps when the US Navy was visiting the area way back in 1946, they stumbled a little too close to the Nazis' secret base. And the Nazis used their advanced aircrafts to fire at the crews and deter them from coming any closer and truly discovering their hideout. And stretching it even further, maybe the US retaliated by shooting those missile tests in the area in order to secretly and quietly kill off the remaining Nazi troops. It is so crazy to think about. It is so weird. It is so probably not true, but it so totally could be. Maybe someday we'll find out if there was any truth to these wild theories. But until then, many of us will remain fascinated by the mysteries of Antarctica.
So here we are. And I find it all so interesting because here I've had this on the back burner for so many years, and just casual conversation with people talking about it. A time is coming. I have been ridiculed. I have been looked down at. I have been made fun of. I have lived the life of a conspiracy theorist, but in a lot of ways I knew I wasn't a conspiracy theorist because I had a lot of truths to back up what I had already found, so that wasn't a problem. But I just find it interesting that here we are. We're looking at Antarctica. We're addressing what Antarctica is, why Antarctica is, and where are we going with it. 513 billion barrels. Billion barrels. Billion barrels of oil. And gas. And the fact that they said gas too, because you can't pump out one and you can't pump out both. You have to start with one and then refine it into the other. So do they have massive refinery places there? This opens up a whole nother level of understanding what actually is there, because now that's solidifying it for me that it's even more than what I had thought it was. And I thought it was a lot, because what they're saying that there's many people there a year is like 2,000 people. But what they specify is that those 2,000 people are above ground. They don't talk about anything underground and anybody living underground. So the sky's the limit. That's what that tells me. Because I can't find the information, that tells me that the sky's the limit. Because when they hide that information. That means to me that there's information there to be found. And I'm sorry that if you think that I'm like, ludicrous in thinking like that, it is what it is. But I'm tired of being lied to about everything. And if they are lying about everything, then I don't believe anything. So if I have questions on what the hell is going on after I know what's going on over there and what I found, oh, here's a tip on giants. If they suddenly appear, know that they are farsighted. So hiding in the shadows, very good plan. And you heard it here first. Hide in the shadows. They cannot see. And that's why I believe all the buildings were built in the shadows, is to avoid the gaze of the giants. Because they were flying too. Flying giants. Not just walking, flying. Giants with dragon heads. Yeah, okay, so we'll go there. But you can watch my other videos. You'll have to go in there and find them. I guess I could have shared the link. But I have some interesting videos. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, then they're available to watch. But I think tomorrow what we'll do is we'll take a trip on Google Earth Pro, or do it yourself and get familiar with it. I say that to everybody and anybody that has kids. Even though the program itself is a mass production, via the globe. I don't know if we're glitching here. Something's doing something. It's still a great tool to use to look at the Earth with, because you're still looking at that 2D, 3D view. Now, they blur probably 90% of the ocean floor, and they blur 90% of most things in Antarctica. But that's what I say that's nice about the summer in Antarctica, is like if you start visiting there now and in through the end of November, then you get to see more than you get to see the rest of the year, because of the snow melt and the ice melt. And then you can really see the body parts. And it's not like, a piece here and a piece there. It's like what you can see that's visible, that the snow has melted away from. And some people have showed the big alien face. Yeah, it is what it is. But I can show you, like, there's one that you can see the right hip goes down to the leg, and then there's one that you can see the chest, the ribs and the chest, and up into the head and stuff. And then there's another one I have that's of a winged giant, human form, but winged, like dragon wings, with a human-like skull form in the back, but then a dragon face, skull, jaw, bones of a dragon. And I'll show you those tomorrow, because I have them all on my Google Earth. And it's like, trying to talk to people about that before, when they're absolutely in no place to hear that. Now maybe people are in a different place to hear it and understand that there's something going on there, and it's important that we keep an eye on it. So, and know that I believe, because it's so prevalent in my life and has been for so long, that for it to come out like this at this time, in this point in time, especially after what I even just been talking about last week with all the Neo-Nephilim. The stage is being set for something. Now we know the alien thing, then they've already disclosed that, and everybody's like, oh yeah, okay, whatever, we don't care. That is what it is. I can show you my commercial. Let me see if I've even got that on here. I think I downloaded it. Did I? No, yes. Yes, I did. I think I'll have to post. Yeah, I'll have to show that tomorrow. Anyways, super pay attention to what Putin is doing in Antarctica, but don't believe the mainstream media. Look for other alternate sources of information and then combine the two to figure out what the truth is. And that's my challenge to you for this particular topic, because this is the one that's going to be the wild ride. If I were to say anything, I mean, and nothing is a wild ride with this, it's all bullshit, because we've had to put up with these lies for our entire lives. And now, our brothers and sisters are getting all this shit dumped on them right now instead of getting it, being able to, we got the chance to process stuff over a period of time since, like, whatever, everybody in their own time. Some people it's been very short, some people it's been 20 years or plus. Me, it's been 2015. So it's like, and trust me, when I found out about the child sex trafficking back in 2015, I spent a lot of time completely mortified and just pissed off, unbelievably pissed off that it had gotten to that, and I helped usher it in too, because being in the LGBTQ community, love is love. I didn't push any of that stuff. Let me tell you, I did not push any of that shit. When they started trying to bring in the pedophilia while I was still in there, I'm like, no, you can cram that crap. No. Sorry, I do not promote that. Absolutely not. No. So stay tuned for tomorrow. That's all I can say. There is one, I do want to share something with you guys before I get off tonight, because I want to post it. I post a lot of things. I deleted my Facebook. I was banned on Twitter. I can't get into Cloud Hub right now. I'm having issues. I need to email them. But why isn't that? Here it comes. I have a Telegram channel. Somebody sent me something. Oh, I don't care about that. Okay, let me see. Oh, shit. I have 8 subscribers now. Where is... How do I share my... Here we go. Copy link. Okay. It looks like it doesn't like it because I'm live streaming. So what I'll do is between now and then tomorrow, I'll probably be on earlier tomorrow, maybe 7:30, something like that. Because this is really late and I don't want to go late like this anymore. But I think that that's going to be a good place to start. Tomorrow is to, I forgot what I was talking about. What the hell? I'm tired. It's been an interesting day, but finding that out. So watch Putin in Antarctica and don't believe what the media tells you. Pay attention and find yourself. Like BCP on YouTube is a very good independent news place to watch the news. He has his own business. He's not one of those show people that ask for money. And he gives good news and very across the board and kind of gives it in a way that, and he is a Trump supporter, but he gives it in a way of the reasons why. And he is very, precise with his information. And if he messes up, he tells you. He's pretty right on as far as I'm concerned. And legit, because it's like when they're not asking for money, those are the ones that you want to follow because they don't want to get in your pocketbook. Nobody should be trying to get in our pocketbooks right now. Nobody. So have a great night. And then, I was going to post the link. That's what it was. Let me see if I can do that here real quick. Hold on. This is my Telegram link. If you want to find me on Telegram, I post all my stuff on Telegram. Anything from TikTok, I follow Martin Geddes, Geddes, Martin. He's getting banned on a lot of platforms too. He's on Gab. That's where I communicate with him. But I also signed up for his newsletter, so I get things in the email. But he's a very good source of information because he kind of gives a broad view. He doesn't just stick to the right or the left. He just kind of gives it across the board. And that's what I like about it too. He's got a really great brain. I really like his brain. So he's a good person to follow. I'll have some links. I want to post up some links for the people that I follow. And I may make up a card. And Martin, if you ever watch my videos, which I know you don't have time to, I'll probably end up making a card just with some information of where to find you. Because I value, even though I don't agree with everything of all the people that I follow, I do have an affinity for smart people because they're the ones, when it comes down to it, when you need to find or figure out something. That's why I want to get some of these people involved in this brainstorming group that I'm starting. And if you're interested in joining that, shoot me an email at thedancingdeplorable@yahoo.com. I'm looking for people to be on my panel. But there's a prerequisite form you'll probably have to view so that you know, to get an idea of the gist of the type of show that I wanted to. It's like, it's not a script. It's just a form as far as how to set up the information that you want to give versus the information that you'll be handed from the other panelists. So it'll be like I'll have to figure out how to talk about that because it's going to be really fun and very interesting and nobody's ideas will be challenged. They'll only be discussed and given helpful information for. This is it's not a bashing brainstorming event. It's a group. It will be a brainstorming platform where if you're looking for a place to express your ideas, to get help with getting more ideas on top of those ideas, this might be the place that you might want to join. So that'll be coming up. I might be shooting for Fridays because I'm dealing with people that are working during the week. So it might be a Friday or a Saturday thing. Well, it'd have to be a Friday or a Sunday thing because I won't be doing Saturday streams because that's Sabbath. And I'm trying to understand that. And it's very hard as an American to take that seriously and into consideration and even make that applicable in your life. Very, very hard, but not doable. Anyways, join me tomorrow. No, yes, but it's going to have to be even earlier than that. It might be the regular time because Survivor's on tomorrow night, and I always watch Survivor because, Jeff, you're going to be talking to me real soon on Survivor because I'm doing my audition this week. My roommate's going to help me. Heh. So there. And I'm 57, and I can run circles around some of those people, those young kids. Maybe I can't run like an old lady. I can run like an old lady. But I think I would do okay, and I would find food. I like food too much. It's like you, and you, because I'm not going by myself. Because you're not going to go. Oh, she's going to go looking for an idol. Well, yeah. Anybody that's on there that's not looking for an idol, you're a dummy. So yeah. So you're going with me. Let's go. We're gonna go find food. I know exactly what to look for. Not yet, but I will. But even if I didn't learn, I would figure it out. Because I would just go start investigating. Because it's super easy to troubleshoot in nature too, just like on an engine. Just got to troubleshoot. Well, I'll pull that one up. Well, no, that just has normal roots. Well, pull that one up. Well, look at that. That's a root. What's it smell like? A root? Oh, okay, that's a good thing. Let's try that. Does it smell funny? Yeah, that one smells funny. Yeah, easy peasy stuff. And then they got the little hills like by them and stuff. It's like, hey, let's go get some rice. And then you go ground that up. You got flour. Go get some sugar cane and water. If you can't boil water, why aren't you guys? Yeah, never mind. But I'm doing my audition, and Jeff's going to be going. So Milo, how's it feel to be on Survivor? Well, Jeff, I got to tell you, it's been a long time, and I've been watching you since 2008. One of my ex-girlfriends, she got me, interested in. I'm like, yeah, I don't want to watch that. That isn't my thing. Yeah, okay, whatever. Anybody can do that, whatever. But then I started watching, and I'm like, well, this is kind of interesting. And I'm like, here I am. So that'll be part of my audition, anyways. We'll see. And maybe, hopefully, then I'll actually have a green screen I can use that won't glitch my screen. I was like, I had to delete a 2-hour video because it was like, for whatever reason, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I didn't have my backup sound video check. And yeah, so that was like, sucked. Okay, have a great night. Oh, sorry, there's a comment there. I must answer the comment while we are still live. You had me at Antarctica. Yeah, it's a great topic right now, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see where the media goes with it. 2, where Putin goes with it. And then 3, my theory, who is going to be following right behind him with it. I would say that the closest to him in those pie pieces that I talked about from the center out, those pie pieces that connect to Russia will be the ones that join Russia in breaking the treaty. And then it's just going to go until it encompasses the whole, all the way around. And it's like, and the Pangea thing, when you put it all together, is very interesting too. And that is even something to think about as well. Because we know that it was broken up, because of Babylon and stuff like that. And I'm telling you what, this guy on the bus said it today. Perfect analogy of what we're hearing people talk about when we're out and about, for the people in the know versus the people that are completely oblivious and want to be in oblivion. Babel. We're in Babylon. All we're hearing is babble. Babble here, babble there. It's all a bunch of superfluous I love this word. Superfluous bullshit. And I don't even know where I heard it from. It's way back in the 80s, I think. I had some interesting conversations with people in the 80s. And I never did psychedelics, so I can tell you that I'm one of those people that have never done them. Never done acid. I've never done mushrooms. I've never done anything like that. And I've never done heavy narcotic drugs either. Like other than what they give you at the hospital, like morphine. Because I think they gave me morphine for, I don't remember. It was something something that I had done. Anyways, yeah. So, anyways, but it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. So, maybe do some research for yourself, and look at. I mean, even if you're questioning the flat Earth thing, if you start researching yourself and looking at things with your own questions, you should be able to find the truth. And I say that in a positive way because you're one step ahead of them when you find out the truth. You're not in their lie in that particular matrix anymore. And setting yourself apart from any part of their matrix is one step away from them and everything that they represent, which is exactly where I want to be, as completely as far away from them as possible and as close to God as I possibly can get. So every step away from them is one step closer to God, is the way I look at it. And I take that very seriously. Very, very seriously. Especially in this time and age. Because I'm like, I've always been one of those, hello, Jennifer's Dog Rescue. Welcome. We're just getting ready to end, though. We've been going, and I don't want to go any longer because it's already 2 hours, and it's like, that's a long time, and like lots of things to watch and talk about. But I got a lot up here that's got to come out there, and you guys get it. And that's probably going to end up being my motto, isn't it? Because I've said that several times now. So funny. But I really do have a lot of things to share with everybody. Just a... If I had anything to say to everybody, it would be find God, get right with God, and find any and every way to get close to God, because that's what He wants with each one of us individually. He wants us to bring everything to Him. Yeah, I'm working on being regular, Jennifer. Like last week went really well. I tried to stay within this time frame. It's running a little late, and I may still stick with it just because people are starting to show up, and I really like that. So, but tomorrow night will probably be the same time. I try to shoot for around 9:30 to come on, and difficulties end up, sometimes I'm running a little bit late, but I try to get on. So tomorrow night is Survivor Night, and I will be on after that, so it will be the later show, the 9:30. But after that, I'll decide tomorrow, make the decision, and then after that, I'll decide and let you guys know tomorrow night what time I'll for sure be on. Because I think if I go a little bit earlier, I might catch, not that it's important. I don't need to have any more people watching. I get like, I don't want to be yawning. I don't want to be rude. I'm very respectful, and I don't want to do that to you guys. Mommy, my pigtails are too tight. Ha ha ha. Have a great night, everybody, and keep an eye on that Putin in Antarctica. And maybe I'll work on a trailer tonight and tomorrow, and I'll have something kind of silly made up. And I think I just did a new trailer. Yeah, you can check it out on my page on the Dancing Deplorable for YouTube. You can also find me on DLive and Twitch. I'm on CloudHub. I'm on Gab. I'm on Odyssey. There are some places I cannot stream because you have to be a partner. And I'm like, I'm not that rich. I'm not quite there yet. When God decides, then He will provide. God decides, He will provide. But thanks so much for everybody. I think I found you live for a reason. Please know I just got out of the hospital. Jennifer, I will pray for you. And if you don't have to disclose anything. If you want to, you can. You can also email me if you want to do that. I love to pray for people, and I know that God answers my prayers. I'm kind of weird that way. I don't pray for myself. Other people are supposed to pray for us. So that's what I try to do. So I will lift you up in prayer and know that God is listening and wants to do what he needs to do. So, and anybody, if you want to email me about wanting prayer, I will be more than happy to add you to my prayer list. I like when I'm watching Greenbeard in the morning in the chat, and it's a wonderful place. And let me see if I can't. Let me pull that up because I really think it's a great resource for anybody and everybody. He really is wonderful, and the chat room is divine, and it is definitely blessed by God. And I say this with great love and honor and respect of these people because they are my go-to for prayer. It's like I don't have a whole lot of friends. And it's like when I need prayer, like right now, and they're on, that's when I'm on there, in there, and I need prayer, I ask for it and I receive it and God answers it. And it's like sometimes it's immediate, sometimes it's like, within hours, and I let people know, because that's what God does. He answers prayers. And that's our biggest job here is praying for each other. So follow Greenbeard on DLive. He's also on Clout Hub. I don't have access to that, so I can't send you the link. But he's also listed as Greenbeard. I don't know if he's 117. He may still be over there as well. But he's very, very out. He's very popular on Clout Hub. And he's also on, I think he's spinning on Foxhole too. And also, if you want to check out Axe Truth, he's kind of on the funny side with some of the silly stuff going on. That's a fun one. But check out Jennifer. If you have a DLive account, then check out Greenbeard because they're just a wonderful chat. And Greg will say a prayer for you online as well. Because once it's professed, you're already in the loop. And that's where everybody needs to be. When they get the prayers, they need to get in that loop. Professing it is where it's at. It's definitely where it's at. I believe miracles are happening everywhere, Jennifer, and I can't wait to hear it. And let me know if it's okay to share it, and I'll share it live. Okay. And my email is thedancingdeplorable@yahoo.com. I also have a Wix website. And I believe that's the Dancing Deplorable as well. But you can also message me on there. I dropped my Facebook. I'm banned on Twitter. I do have a BitChute. And I do have a Gab. And I do have Odyssey. And I do have Telegram, which I posted my Telegram. So you guys can find me wherever you need to find me. It's just Facebook. I dropped that. I'm just completely done. I'm just really glad to be done with that one. So thank you again, everybody, for joining me and spending a little time in my area of influence. You notice I use that a lot. And think about that pie thing. Think about the clock. Think about the wall. Think about how they lie to us about everything. And think about that in one of the encyclopedias, Britannica's encyclopedias, it has flat Earth, and that's where it talks about the Antarctica Treaty. They first bring it up about that. So interesting things. So pay attention, be aware, keep your eyes open. We're getting set up. Take care, everyone. Thanks for the follow, Jennifer. Nice to see you, and I'll look forward to that email, and I'll be praying for you. And anybody else, send me a prayer request, and I'll put you on the list. I actually have, this is just my list from today. So I have quite the list going. Love you, everybody. Take care. God bless. And see you tomorrow after Survivor. So if you watch Survivor, be ready to talk about it a little bit because I'll probably break it up because we got, yeah. Okay. See you then. Bye. Take care.